So I want to say thank you for joining me today for all you listeners out there. I'm Barb Smith, the Executive Director of the Barb Smith Suicide Resource and Response Network. Our network has been caring for our community for the past 31 years. We do multiple programs, but our main goal is to bring prevention and aftercare efforts to the people we serve, not only here in the Saginaw area, but the Great Lakes Bay region and beyond. So we're doing a series right now of different people in the community that have not only supported our efforts, but also have supported our network and are a great asset to the people right here in our community. So I've had a privilege in meeting our next guest and many of the Saginaw County employees that he cares for. We work together, our network, with the local police. We go to the homes after there's been a major tragedy, tragic death, whether it's a suicide or other cause of death. So the person that you're going to be meeting is actually one who also cares for our Saginaw County employees. The Saginaw County commissioners understand how important it is for the community to pull together during these challenging times in caring for our community. So I've had the honor of meeting Michael Webster, who is the chair of the Saginaw County Board of Commissioners. We met at a meeting, and I say this from my heart, and I say this truthfully. You have such a huge heart and a beautiful presence about you that easy to talk to, and I believe you are probably one of the most caring people that I know who care for our Saginaw County employees and the people you serve here. So I want to say welcome to you, Mr. Webster, and I'd like you to introduce yourself and how we came to be.
Well, I'm humbled. That is certainly
I mean,
a humbling introduction. I definitely appreciate the kind words, Barb. And this is I'm just humbled to have this opportunity to talk about this topic and to be able to share at least our Saginaw County experience with the listeners, and hopefully add a word of encouragement. Just to introduce myself very quickly, as Barb indicated, I am the chair of the Saginaw County Board of Commissioners, and I've been on the Saginaw County Board of Commissioners for 4 years now, and I've been the chair of our board for 2 years. And it has been an exciting opportunity for me. One of the things that really got me involved in our Board of Commissioners and our local authority, as this was the realization that I wanted to give something back to our community. And as Barb indicated, I care a lot about the success and the viability of our community, and knowing that and feeling that deeply in my heart, I wanted to get involved in local government to make sure that we had appropriate services to our citizens of the community. And that led to me joining the Saginaw County Board of Commissioners. And as Barb indicated, I do have a heart for our community and the citizens and also the employees of Saginaw County as well. So again, I'm very excited to be here and looking forward to the discussion.
so tell us a bit about how our collaborative effort really came to be, and why do you want to be involved with us? Like, why have you really supported our efforts just in our first meeting?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the short answer to the question, and it may be a short answer. I'll give a little bit of a story here. If you'll indulge me for just a moment, our Saginaw County Board of Commissioners, we had an opportunity roughly about a year and a half ago, and the director of our 911 association shared with us during just a brief update data in regards to number of calls into the 911 authority with either individuals threatening suicide or having attempted it or dealing with it. And the number of calls, as we heard in the report, was extremely alarming to us. And as a matter of fact, if I think about the numbers, I think for the year of 2019, the numbers that we looked at, there were almost 1,000, or there were more than 1,500 calls to our 911 organization throughout the course of the year. And so again, that was an alarming number to us, but to me, it was an eye-opener to me, just indicating that, wow, I had no idea that it was such a problem for us in our community locally that impacted that number of individuals that number of individuals crying out for help and calling obviously 911. That's the individuals that actually reach out and try to get some help, and then not including, or that number doesn't include, individuals who are silent about it. And so to me, those numbers and that report was very alarming. And then as we stepped back through the presentation, we had an opportunity to hear from people even in the room. And these are employees of Saginaw County. They shared their stories in regards to either loved ones or people that they knew, um, who were victims of this as well. And so that really heightened our attention to say, hey, boy, if that's a number out there in the general public, of our 566 employees, how many of our employees are struggling? And so we had to ask ourselves that question. And once we asked that question, we started to go down the path of, well, what can we do? And that's where Barb came in. And that's where Barb, and that's, to me, that's where our relationship started, when we were looking for answers of, hey, what can we do? And the first what can we do was, how do we train our employees to be, number one, aware, more sensitive, and then be able to offer at least some sort of assistance to their fellow employees, maybe just to be able to point them in the right direction towards help and assistance. If you just started there, and if that was just step one, I think we would say that we'd made a major difference, just being able to point people to the appropriate help as needed. So that started the relationship, that started the journey. And just to cut to the chase, it led to training for our Saginaw County employees. And that led to a number of other things as well that we'll talk about also, I hope.
Yeah, we actually had that opportunity to train multiple employees and of yours already, and then kicked in. But we're going to come back and maybe do some smaller groups, because I truly believe that if we can create that connectedness at your workplace and better ways to talk with each other and be supportive and be open and feeling safe, those employees are going to go home and hopefully carry that into their own families and then into our community. So, right, if we can create these spaces in workplaces where most of us spend a lot of time, most of us are at work more than at home. So if we can care for our employees, hopefully them feeling cared for and understood is going to build better relationships throughout, sort of that ripple effect, right? Where you live, learn, play, and pray.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciated that you offered this opportunity of trainings to your employees. So let's ask about that. So when we did talk to your employees or did some trainings, what was their feedback?
Yeah, and so as I was mentioning, the feedback received was really quite, or actually extremely positive for our employees, recognizing how much of a self-realization and a self-reflection opportunity it was for them. I think a lot of my employees, as they came back and shared with me, they felt more empowered to be able to deal with this subject. And the training obviously gave them a sense of confidence, number one, to understand it, but also, as I mentioned before, to be able to assist individuals and point them in the right direction towards help. I'd like to comment, though, even on my personal experience with the training as well. I thought it was a phenomenal experience. I thought it helped me in a very significant way. And I hope that others appreciate this, is that, to me, in the environment that we live in right now, with technology and such a fast pace, things going on in social media, et cetera, we often do not take an opportunity to step back and listen. And that's easier said than done. And I think one of the biggest values in the training itself is that you learn how to listen. And if you think you know how to listen now, you go through the training, you figure out that you need help, you need work on how do you just listen. And to me, that was the major eye-opener for the training itself, was to teach or reteach me how to listen. And so now I've come up with a new term. And if someone said to me, hey, can you lend me your ear? It has new meaning. Lend me your
It's like you
ear.
want to take your ear
Right, right.
off and like,
Take
I'm
that
really going to stop. I'm really stopping to
right,
hear you.
exactly. And that was the major breakthrough, I think, for me and others that I've talked to, is that you really learn how to stop and lend the person your ear. And when you say lend that person your ear, you're stopping and you're taking out and you're really listening, but also you're doing something else. You're giving them and you're lending them your full attention and your time.
Yeah,
And I
beautifully
think we
said.
can all benefit from that, not only at home, but also in the workplace as well. Now, let me share just one more thing that aligns with that. And it's in the training came at the absolute perfect time for us at Saginaw County, because one of the things that we had done with employees at Saginaw County was introduce this theme: hi, hello, and how are you? And it's very, very simple. And what we were trying to do throughout the course of 2019 was to say to yourself, as an employee, if you see another employee in the hallway, say hello to them. Start with hi, say hello, but take the next step as well and do the, what I would say, the emotional check-in. As you look at them in the eyes, do the emotional check-in and say, how are you? And that comes back to lending them your ear. When you say, how are you? Listen for the response and really check in to see if it's a positive, healthy response, or if they're looking for an opportunity for you to engage even further. And to me, that's been an extremely positive opportunity for us here at the county, because we're asking employees to engage with each other. And it's my belief is that, boy, if we have a healthy, mentally, emotionally strong workforce, that will spill over to the citizens that we provide services to as well, regardless of the role that you play at Saginaw County. And to your point, Barb, it spills over into our community, and then Saginaw County as a whole becomes a beneficiary of that work, that reflection, and that activity as well.
So I that actually makes me feel really good, feeling a little hopeless because, we've had multiple suicides this week. And when I hear that some of the training has been helpful, and the training that you're referring to is the assist 2-day suicide intervention training. And then we're doing a safe talk training, which teaches you the listening skill, how to respond if there's a concern. And I remember coming into your office and like, yeah, we have this new program of, hi, how are you? And then I said, okay. So when someone says, I'm not good or not doing well, what do you do? And
Right.
we sort of laugh like, oh, just don't answer that way, right? Because what to do when I'm not doing well. We all like, I'm fine, I'm good. And if someone says, I'm not doing great, I'm struggling, it's like, oh, sorry to hear that,
Right.
right? So I really liked that you use this as an extension of what you're already doing in changing the environment where your employees work and are many, many hours. So the trainings can be an extension, and it's not just suicide, is it? It really was
No,
a listening skill
exactly.
and being present, and it builds relationships in your family. And I say, since I've been doing the trainings, I think my
Mhm.
wife and mother, I listen better. You know what I mean? I can teach it, now I'm sort of living it. And it's a simple skill that we think we do until you really practice it, and
Exactly.
we can see how it can build stronger relationships. So I love to hear stories of how it's impacted workplaces in a positive way. And I hear that often. And I don't think the community understands enough that taking some type of a training, whatever it is, we shared with you that you're 10 times more likely to use CPR or come in contact with someone having thoughts of suicide than someone having a heart attack. So you're going to use your skills for suicide prevention most likely before you're going to use it if you've had CPR training. You're more likely to come in contact with someone having thoughts of suicide than someone having a heart attack. So I feel like we're just creating a mentally and physically healthier community because we have to care for our whole self.
Right.
With that, I wonder what your commission is really working on now to keep our community and your employees healthy and hopeful
Mhm.
trying times. Like, Here's some
Yeah.
things that you're doing.
Yeah, so that's another very good question. This is, and it's actually an even more difficult question. And the difficulty there is that obviously with what's going on right now with COVID-19 and the virus itself, I'm pleased with one thing, and that one thing is that we started this journey last year pre-COVID. We started this journey last year pre-COVID, and at least it has allowed us to at least take a very positive, or it at least prepared us for a very positive first step forward in terms of dealing with the COVID situation, and also dealing with the fact that county employees have been working from home, working remote for the last 4 months. And people have also obviously talked about the emotional either stress of the uncertainties evolving around this, not only for county employees, but our Saginaw County at large. And so I think all of these things now converge to create a number of different, what I would say, challenges for the broader community. And so again, my point there is that I'm glad we started this journey already. And now I think as we start to then hopefully over the next couple of months come out of this, we will be able to reactivate a lot of the things that we've already started. And I think through this COVID crisis, a lot of other individuals at the county will realize that, boy, we even need more of this now, more than ever. And the more of this is, as you pointed out, Barb, is the ability to, number one, not only listen to each other and provide healthy emotional support, but we strengthen ourselves by being able to open up the discussion as well. And I like how you put it in terms of so often suicide has been a taboo in terms of a subject for us to touch on, mental illness as well. But I think what we're going to find is throughout the COVID crisis and on the other side of this is that people are going to be struggling in those areas. But I do feel very confident that we're at least at the county standpoint, we're more equipped to be able to deal with that because of the training that we've already started. But to answer your question, though, I think we've got a great opportunity to even do more as we come out of the crisis and train more as well um, over time.
I think, and I'm not living in a bubble, and I'm seeing a lot of people under a lot of stress, and I myself have my days, right, in my moments, like it's exhausting, and I want our life back. I want to go back, and then I'm like, no, I feel like we're really learning some powerful lessons here, and some gaining some new tools, being flexible and taking the time to breathe, and some days and some weeks I'm back to being so busy working 14, 20 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, but I'm taking a day where I never used to take a day off. Like I never took a day to go take the grandkids to the beach or to take a ride or to walk the trails. I never spent time doing that because I was always so busy doing that I was never just being. So, if we go, and that was a Dr. Diamond's quote, and I loved it, is I think that this COVID, we can look at it as the worst time in our whole life. And it's challenging. I'm not denying that. And I'm not glorifying it. But reality is there's some good things that have come out of this.
Yeah.
Like people, there are the people who are just so angry and bitter and mean. And then there's people who have such a kindness about them. And they're learning to support each other. And the community is coming together. We're being creative. We're connecting. We're calling. We're trying to be more present with people and checking in. I think if you started it, you said 700 employees you have?
566 roughly, and
500, yeah, 566 employees just in Saginaw County. If you're creating that place in their workplace, imagine how we can, and it's going to take a while for that ripple effect to go.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And we have to minimize the amount of anger in this county. If we're going to grow and we're going to survive and be healthy and hopeful, we all have a responsibility to try and minimize our anger and stop projecting it at everyone else. And most importantly, don't project it at yourself.
Right. Right.
Right. So what can our community do to support your efforts and to not just say, this is the Board of Commissioners' problems. they need to take care of us, and they got to find us money, and they got to give us better food, and they need to find us free food, free housing, and they need to clean this up. They need to get us our jobs back. This isn't your responsibility, and
Right.
people are putting it on. And I'm not
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
it on your plate.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point. And I would like to, just kind of highlight that point is that, and I think a lot of people out in the community, as I've talked to them, um, come to this realization that government is not going to solve all of your problems. And to me, I think if we step back with this, and I think, the experience and the journey that we've had together is proof positive of government's not going to solve all of your problems, but government can help in some unique ways. And I think that's going to come about through partnership. Through partnership. And so that's why I really value the relationship that we've had with your network and your organization, because it represents to me a strategic partnership for county government overall and for us to do good work across our broader community. And one great example to answer your question of what can the community do at large is that the community at large can do more things like the first training session that we had, a local church volunteer or allowed us to utilize their facility. That's a partnership. That's a partnership between the county, your organization, and then also the local church who were providing their facility to allow us to do the training in. And that was vital. It was key. They opened up their doors to us, and also they fed us very well.
They
We had some
did.
great food. But my point is that that's the answer there, is that let's not look at government as being the end all be all solution. How do we as a community partner more together to make this happen? So as we have future training sessions, if people in the community, you're involved in an organization, you raise your hand and say, hey, have it here.
Yeah.
And there is a multiple win there. There's a win for the organization in which we're having it at, because it exposes people to the fact that, hey, this is great training. It's a subject that people are not afraid to talk about. And oh, by the way, it now exposes and it creates that ripple that you just talked about. And then obviously from a county standpoint, that's what I've really started to push over the last year is how do we do more of these strategic and effective partnerships that allow us to do more with the limited resources that we have. And then the final point that I would raise as well is that if you think about, if you're out there and you're listening, um, I'll share this one story with you. We got involved with Barb and the Suicide Response Network in a very all-in way, but it was based on individuals making a
Yes.
financial contribution to us and to support the training. It was amazing to me as we sat in a meeting sharing the stories of individuals who had been impacted by suicide, individuals in the audience who heard that story, two individuals in particular, they raised their hand and said, hey, I want to do something about that. And I want to
Yeah.
do something in a financial way to support that. And so if we had more people either through their resources offering those, through their financial resources offering those, partnering with us to allow us to be able to do exactly what we've just talked about, that's how we now create that ripple through our community. And Barb, what we do is create that culture that you just described. And that's a culture where we all in our community, we care about the success, the mental health, and the happiness of everyone around us. Now, I know that sounds all hokey and all of
I
that,
mean,
but I mean, that's what it takes for the
yes.
community to thrive. We've
Yes.
got
And
to,
I
we've
think,
got to be able to do that if we want to thrive as a community.
and we have to believe in it. We have to
Yeah,
believe that it's not just this fantasy world.
right.
I believe that it can be our world, but I do believe that it takes good leadership.
Mhm.
And I feel strongly that you and your commissioner, all of your other commissioners, I've just had the honor of working more with you closely, but I think the work that you're doing during these challenging times, and we've had the flood, we've had a lot going on,
Yeah,
and but we can't act like it's all glorious and it's going to be easy. we're not in this dream world. But if we can remember that we all play a role in creating this healthy community,
Yeah.
whether it's the church hosting it or Bavarian Inn is now going to host us, schools offer to open up their doors for space. We just need employees or employers,
Mm-hmm.
give their employees some time, especially during this time if they're not at work or they're furloughed. Maybe they can, we can do small groups of 10 at workplaces or other meeting spaces where it's much more open and keeping safety in mind. But I don't think what you're asking of our county and the people who live here, I don't think it's out of reach.
No, I think it's very possible.
It is possible, and we have to believe it's possible or we're going to be hopeless. So I want to say thank you for sharing your time with us. And I know you're busy. This has been valuable time myself for me to hear you, but also my hope is people continue to hear what you have to say. And many of us really never get to know you or the work that you do for us. I mean, we don't know who you are behind your desk, but we do appreciate you and you're timeless. I mean, honestly, I don't know how many hours you work a day or week.
Too many?
I know you don't sleep.
Too many.
A lot. We do look forward to continuing our work together and partnering on these programs and to keeping our whole community healthy. But I do thank you. And for those of you who've never had the honor of working with Mr. Webster, I'm sorry for that. So we want to get you out in the community a little bit more and let people have this opportunity to have this friendship as I have had.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me, Barb. And I would just add something to close out as well. Is I've had since we've had a chance to work together. Ironically enough, I've had multiple conversations with people inside of our community and then outside of our county as well. And it is amazing to me how often your name comes up as a resource. And so thank you very much for all you do. You're making a difference. And again, I can tell you, it's even outside of the county. I was outside of the county at a meeting and your name came up and it was all just very glowing.
I was going to say, was it good?
It was great comments as well. And I was like, I know Barb. So
I know her.
Yep. And so, but I think one of the things that really impresses me is that you've been doing this for a long time. And so, the stamina and the longevity that you've created around this, that is should be celebrated in a big way. And so thank you for your commitment and your enduring commitment. So thank you.
Thank you. Hey, are you going to join us for the walk? Are you going to build?
We will build a team.
You are?
We will build a team, and keyword there, team. And we've got to make sure that that's the culture that we're trying to create here. Is a team culture, and we're all in it together. And so when you say, hey, are you going to build a team to do the walk? That's an easy answer.
Easy answer, then take a picture. Remember to paint a rock of hope, and we're going to leave them around Saginaw County. So other people, when you leave your rocks with a decorated word of hope on there, keep your hope for someone else along their journeys through life. So our goal is we're going to see rocks with hope messages all throughout Saginaw County, Great Lakes Bay region, from people who are just walking this journey called life. And we hope to pick up other messages of hope from other people. So
awesome.
And don't forget to send us a picture and we'll post it on our website.
Sounds good. Thank you again.
Have a good day.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.